Our season finale takes a look back at one of our most successful and competitive seasons in PacWest volleyball and soccer and cross country, when we crown 2 runners and 2 teams at our championships on the North Shore. We'll also head to the Stan Sheriff Center for highlights from the HPU men's basketball exhibition game against the University of Hawaii. You're watching PacWest Magazine. Let's go to some highlights from the islands.
In the beautiful setting of Kahuku, Hawaii, on the top of the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii Pacific University hosted the 2012 PacWest Men's and Women's Cross Country Championships in late October. It was the largest field ever for the conference crown, with 13 men's teams and 14 women's teams battling it out for PacWest supremacy. The men's field included 4 new schools in Azusa Pacific, Fresno Pacific, Holy Names, and Point Loma, along with defending conference champion California Baptist, who is expected to get a tremendous test from BYU Hawaii and Grand Canyon. Despite an early start to the race, Kona conditions made the running very tough with humidity very high. The top runners struggled to find their rhythm on the 8,000-meter course. Perhaps it was the conditions, or maybe it was good fortune, or most probably tremendous grit and personal determination. But the leader of the pack turned out to be a runner who had not been there all season long, CBU's Talal Khan. By the time he headed for the home stretch, Khan had taken control, and he would finish first in a time of 25 minutes, 39.1 seconds. GCU's Charles Simon, who made it to the national meet, finished as runner-up, while BYU Hawaii's Spencer Diavila finished third. In a very tough and grueling race, many runners showed their exhaustion at the finish line. But despite the warm and humid weather, nothing could stop PacWest champion Talal Khan, who was thrilled about his victory.
The whole race, I just was telling myself, look, you're right there, you know, you're in the top 2. What can go wrong, you know? And every time I thought about slowing down, the guy was right there next to me, so I just kept going. And then, like I said, once I made my move, I never looked back. I just went for it, and coming around the finish, you know, I didn't hear anybody, so I knew I was golden at that point and just kicked it in.
You know, he's just got a history of, you know, people telling him that he, you know, doesn't perform at the big meets and that he struggles, and you know, so he's really excited. He should come up and, you know, and perform when it mattered, I think, and it just meant a lot to him.
All year it was just something was keeping me from, you know, injury or just bad race. Something was always there, but today came in healthy, confident, and, you know, it paid off. Just stuck, like I said, every step I just stuck it right there.
As for the team title, that would also go to California Baptist. The Lancers defended their title to win the PacWest Championship plaque once again, finishing ahead of second place BYU Hawaii, with Grand Canyon finishing third. The women's cross-country field was the largest in conference championship history. 14 schools from the 4 states of Utah, Arizona, California, and Hawaii would stride their way over a women's course that measured 5,000 meters. This would be a race where there would be several leaders early on, so the question was, who would prevail along the beautiful shores of Kahuku? With warm temperatures and humid conditions, it was a young woman from chilly San Francisco who surged to the front. Jenny Berggren of Academy of Art came from behind to take the lead on the final lap. And by the time she headed to the finish line, she was looking very strong as she won in a time of 18 minutes, 9.35 seconds. A runner from the host school of HPU, Paulina Bakina, finished as the runner-up, and Jennifer Mallon of CBU was third. Berggren, who would later garner All-American honors along with Dixie State's Rachel Young at the NCAA championship meet, talked about winning the plaque as the individual champion in the PacWest.
It feels great. It's really exciting, especially to be here in Hawaii and conquer the heat. I mean, I trust my training and I trust my coach, and so we just went with the flow and did all the right workouts and, I don't know, aimed for the right races.
With the individual title decided, the quest for the team championship was the other piece of drama that morning. Newcomer Azusa Pacific and defending champion California Baptist were expected to battle place by place right to the finish. And that's exactly what happened. With APU coming through with a very close victory, CBU finishing as runner-up, and GCU third.
That's been our goal going into the season. We knew that for our school, winning the first PacWest title was going to be a big deal. This is our first championship in the NCAA, and we wanted to be the team that brought that back to campus, so we're very pleased with that. We've got a great history and a great tradition, especially in track and field and cross country, and we want to carry that on. We know the bar's gotten a lot higher for us, and we expect our athletes and coaching staff to jump that bar, and we're really excited about the future and joining this conference and getting better as an athletic department.
It was a Saturday to remember in Kahuku as the top runners on both the men's side and the women's side were also honored with their all-conference t-shirts, emblematic of their excellence and efforts on this day. It's something they will proudly wear to show how they persevered against the dreaded Kona winds, and something they will long cherish about the memories of a beautiful course in Kahuku, Hawaii.
I chose Division II because athletes graduate at a higher rate.
I can stay closer to home
and be an important part of the community.
I chose Division II because I can double major
and take part in campus activities.
I chose Division II because classrooms are smaller.
Students have more time with their instructors.
And I can compete for a national championship.
I chose Division II for all these reasons and more.
I chose Division II.
Imagine collaborating with a diverse group of people from different backgrounds who all share common values. A place where giving back to the community is not only encouraged, but expected. Where your professor is not just a teacher, but a mentor. Imagine a place where individual leadership is prized. Imagine Chaminade University.
Using this expression from kinematics.
With the given interval, does the integral diverge?
And the appropriate substitution would be? What then is the acceleration of the center of mass?
Anyone awake?
You in the far back.
You back there?
You got to be kidding.
Where did you come up with that? You.
You?
You?
Yeah, no. How about you?
Mm-hmm. You in the white.
You're watching PacWest Magazine, but when we're not on TV, you can always check us out at our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/PacWest Conference. Now here's more PacWest Magazine.
The fall 2012 PacWest season was definitely one to flip out about. There were so many outstanding efforts during the fall 2012 men's soccer season, for example. 4 new teams came into the league, including Azusa Pacific and Holy Names. The Cougars and Hawks joined Point Loma and Fresno Pacific to make it a 14-team conference, the biggest in the West region of NCAA Division II. And the coaches took note of just how good the PacWest had become.
We showed it in the off-season, in the non-conference schedule. We were 8-4-1 against CCAA, who's a long-time #1 conference in the West region. We are the #1 conference in the West region now by these teams coming in. The Cal Baptist last year, Azusa Pacific, Fresno Pacific, Point Loma, Holy Names. All these teams that have come in, Fresno Pacific, I mean, this is great men's soccer programs and some great coaching staff.
The conference season started with a big upset in the first week, with Notre Dame de Namur knocking off nationally ranked Grand Canyon in Belmont, California. That win would help propel the Argonauts into a berth in the NCAA regional tournament. For the first time ever, the PacWest got 2 teams into the regional field as the conference really took a step up this year. The other NCAA qualifier was the eventual PacWest champion. Grand Canyon bounced back from its early season loss to fight back to the top. The Antelopes used a many-pronged attack to continually make their move up the NCAA ladder. The Lopes finished the season #1 in the conference and made it all the way to the NCAA Super Regionals. PacWest Coach of the Year, Peter Draxton, kept his focus on the prize all year long.
I mean, it's just an incredible conference. We're the #1 conference in the West region with no doubt in men's soccer. At the same time, our non-conference schedule, it was incredible playing Fort Lewis, Cal Pacific, Sonoma State, Colorado Pueblo. It's about playing the top teams because if you go to postseason, that's what you're going to get, and we need to be ready for that.
GCU's eventual title didn't come easily as California Baptist, the reigning conference co-champion, battled for PacWest bragging rights all the way to the final match of the season. And newcomer Fresno Pacific made the strongest run to end the year, winning their last 12 matches in a row, 11 of those in conference play, to finish as the PacWest runner-up. Here's how the top tier finished in the PacWest in men's soccer, with GCU the champion, Fresno Pacific second, followed by CBU and NDNU tied for 3rd place. Azusa Pacific was 5th, defending co-champion HBU 6th, and Dominican and Hawaii Hilo tied for 7th. Over on the women's side, new schools in the 14-team conference made a real difference. Point Loma, for example, led the way in shutouts and great defensive play as the Sea Lions led the standings for a good part of the season.
And there's some GSAC schools that came in, and then you've got some of these existing PacWest schools. It's just going to be strong soccer again. Obviously, the conference has 14 teams, whereas what we come from had 11. So there's more teams to play through. But as far as the competition and whatnot, it's just strong all the way across.
Another story of newness was in San Rafael, where Dominican had a brand new soccer field this year, and the Penguins celebrated their new digs by finishing the year with a winning season. The PacWest automatic bid went to BYU Hawaii. The Seasiders advanced to the NCAA tournament for the 3rd time in the last 5 years with efforts like this in Laie. By the end of the PacWest women's soccer season, California Baptist successfully defended its title. The Lancers won their last 11 games of the regular season to finish with a 13-1 conference mark. In 2012, they are once again the champions in the PacWest. Here's the way the top tier of the conference standings finished up in women's soccer, with CBU at #1 again, followed closely by runner-up Azusa Pacific. Point Loma finished 3rd, with BYU Hawaii 4th, GCU was 5th, then NDNU and Dominican and HBU tied for 7th place. What a season it was in PacWest women's volleyball as well. One of the premier matches happened in Riverside, California, on a night when California Baptist was presented with last year's Commissioner's Cup. CBU won 6 conference titles a year ago and was hoping that magic would carry over onto the volleyball court this fall. In a tense 5-set battle against nationally ranked Grand Canyon, the two teams went back and forth at the net in a game that seemed to go on forever. In the end, it would be CBU prevailing in extra points of the fifth and decisive set to win a thriller that was truly indicative of the high caliber of play in the PacWest women's volleyball this season.
Yeah, well, we've come a long way. You know, it's our second year in the PacWest, and we've just been waiting to get a team like this in our gym and just to kind of test ourselves to see where we're at. Fortunately tonight we came out on the top of it. On the night that we got the Commissioner's Cup is really, really special. You know, our president was here, all of our other student athletes were in attendance, and you know, we said before the start of the match that, you know, we need to do our part here to make sure that it stays here at CBU next year.
Despite its loss that night, Grand Canyon was one of the strongest teams in the conference this year. Head coach Chris Neighbor had her Antelopes playing at the highest level all season long. GCU went undefeated in its non-conference season and finished at number 2 in the West region, one of 2 PacWest teams seated at the top and headed to the NCAA tournament.
Postseason's almost a given now. You know, we don't even think about, oh, we have to make it, or I hope we make it. Now it's, we will make it. And then obviously from there, you know, we lost in the first round, so I want to make it to the second round. Once we make it to the second, I want to make it to the third.
But the title of the PacWest this women's volleyball season would go through Laie, Hawaii. In head coach Will Navalta's penultimate season, the Seasiders ran the table in conference play, winning 16 straight matches on their way to the PacWest Championship and the #1 seed and host spot of the NCAA Regional Tournament.
Don't look ahead. Our goal is to win the conference, go to region, win the regionals, then we'll think about nationals. But there's no question, yeah, the girls are playing at a very high level. We have the skills, we have the depth, you know, athletic ability. But the game of volleyball is momentum. You have to keep that consistency.
BYU Hawaii's biggest test came on the road in Central California, where it faced newcomer Fresno Pacific in a match for the ages. This battle went to a fifth and deciding set before BYU Hawaii came back to win in 5 to preserve its unbeaten record. It was the only blemish on FBU's record in a stellar season for the Sunbirds. Here's how the final women's volleyball standings look, with BYU Hawaii at #1, followed closely by runner-up Fresno Pacific. CBU finished 3rd, GCU 4th, with APU and HPU tied for 5th place, and newcomer Holy Names ending up in 7th. It was indeed a great fall for all of our PacWest teams, including our men's and women's cross-country teams, which we showed you in a separate story from Kahuku, Hawaii. California Baptist defended its title in men's cross-country, while Azusa Pacific earned its first ever conference crown by taking home the championship plaque in women's cross-country. Congratulations to all of our outstanding student athletes and coaches, and all our fall 2012 champions.
We exist in a place rich with promise, where ideas ignite the spirit of learning, where our trustworthy methods are validated by respected results. It's a place where we practice integrity and encourage the development of ethical perspectives, where creativity burns brightly and expressions of hearts, minds, and souls are nurtured, where we view challenges through the lens of opportunity and daily circumstances through the eyes of faith. It's where the potential for excellence has no limitations, and each new day begins with hope. Fresno Pacific University, empowering leaders, transforming lives.
It doesn't look like your average university, because it isn't. Just 12 miles from San Francisco is an urban oasis where students go beyond the classroom, helping businesses become sustainable, fighting breast cancer, athletes who excel and serve the community. And here, you don't just study history, you help make it.
When you're transferring colleges, there is a lot of work involved. With Notre Dame, it was totally different. They were really hands-on. The admissions office even knew me by name.
Notre Dame de Namur University makes transferring simple and gives you access to the classes you need so you can graduate on time. Located in the heart of the peninsula, Notre Dame offers smaller class sizes, hands-on advising, and financial aid. You know where you want to go. We want to help you get there. To learn more, visit us at ndnu.edu.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in right here on OC16. You're watching PacWest Magazine.
The HPU men's basketball team looked to start the 2012-13 season strong, after a year when the Sea Warriors failed in their run for a PacWest championship in 2011-12. The team hit the road for their opener, a one-point exhibition loss to Division I Santa Clara in Northern California, but it was back to the islands for this preseason game against the University of Hawaii, another Division I opponent and crosstown rival. The early season matchup against UH has been somewhat of a tradition for HPU in recent years, and Coach Darren Voderbrogge hopes it never ends.
I think it's great for Hawaii. You know, you see it a lot on the mainland, that the state schools, where there are several state schools, will play some of the smaller D2 schools. Well, we only have one D1 school in the whole state, and so very appreciative that they play us. I think the fans enjoy it more than they would even another Division I or a Division II from the mainland, because there's a great Hawaii feel, and the fans are always good here. They even for us, when we come here, we feel like, hey, as long as you don't win, we're going to treat you decent, and so it's a lot of fun.
HPU fell behind by double digits early in the game, but the Sea Warriors came back late. With the score 36-24, HPU went on an 8-0 run to make it a 4-point game at the half. The second half would have a similar flow. HPU trailed by 13 with 8:29 to play, but by the 150 mark, HPU had trimmed the lead down to 4 on a couple free throws by Kevin Attila. However, HPU would get no closer, as UH would make several trips to the free throw line near the end of the game to take the 75-67 victory. But in front of a crowd of 5,000, Hawaii Pacific was more than respectable and may have found a new team leader in newcomer Malte Ziegenhagen. The 6'4" sophomore from Berlin, Germany, who transferred to HPU from Division I Tulane in New Orleans, scored 19 points on the night.
For us, it's been very nice coming out here. You know, like the arena is amazing, and I really get that feeling. You know, like a lot of people out here supporting UH, and I was happy that some HPU students came over too, and some family, you know, supporting us too, and it's been nice. Like I like the level, I like play hard. You know, like I see like a lot of players from Hawaii are very physical. You know, so we try to be there. You know, and be physical too, you know. I'm trying always to support my team, you know. I'm trying everything. Being vocal is very, I don't know, when I'm in the zone, like in the game, I'm just yelling all the time, trying to push my teammates.
Brings a lot of energy to our team. He's something I think we've missed in the past. He's vocal, he's enthusiastic, and he backs it up. Sometimes you get players that have all those intangibles, but they don't back it up on the court. Well, he earns the respect with his play, and then also provides it with a great attitude and a great energy.
My father actually tried to push me to soccer because he was a goalie, and I tried it one day, and then I was like, Mom, I can't do that. I hate this sport, you know. So she pushed me like go into basketball. I don't know why actually. I've been in New Orleans last year, and now I've been here for 3 months or 4 months almost. Wow. So I'm here. I'm out here for a long time already, and it's getting better. I'm starting surfing and stuff, you know. So it's an amazing place. Amazing place.
With HBU's strong showing against the Rainbow Warriors, the PacWest is sure to have another great year in men's basketball.
Now, that tells us what this school is being built for which it's being built. And from this school, I'll tell you,
from this school
will go men and women.
Will go men and women.
Whose influence will be felt.
Whose influence will be felt.
For good.
For good towards the establishment.
Towards the establishment.
Of Peace International.
Of peace.
Of peace. Of pace.
Of Peace International.
Thanks for joining us on PacWest Magazine. You can always check us out on the web at thepacwest.com. There you can also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and even check out more video at our YouTube channel. For Bob Hogue, Jane Teixeira, and Tom DiCamillo, I'm Wayne Coito. See you next time on PacWest Magazine.